Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 4 of the Monday Q&A. So let's knock these questions out. Do you think doing heavy power cleans will have a better carryover to the deadlift than rows? Truth be told, I love rows. I love doing rows because they do carry over to a couple of other lifts. But the truth is, power cleans will probably, as an accessory, do more for your deadlift than the row will do for your deadlift. Although at the end of the day, you've got to remember a lot of your deadlift strength comes from your squatting and the deadlift itself. Remember, accessories are there to improve weak points. They're not there to give you your primary performance. And so the power clean can improve explosiveness dramatically on the deadlift. And if you suck at explosiveness and speed, then the power clean is probably going to do a lot for your deadlift, but it is a little more complex of a movement to learn, and that's kind of what it adds to the deadlift. If you just need more raw meat on your back, the rows are probably going to do more, but I generally find that most guys already row. They already do enough back work that it's not an issue there. It tends to be more of an explosiveness issue for people who aren't just naturally explosive at the deadlift, and so accordingly the power clean for them is probably going to be a better accessory, but I would never have someone who really wants a big deadlift stop rowing. Alright, next question. Your thoughts on stomach vacuums and how many sets/reps? I think stomach vacuums serve a number of roles. They're very good, obviously, for bodybuilders who want to bring their waistline down by training their abs to suck in more even when they're resting. They're a useful tool. I think that for more performance-based athletes, they're very good at training the transverse abdominals. And so they're useful there, but just like with anything else, you don't need a lot. You could do anywhere between 1 and 3 sets to where you suck in and hold it as long as you can. It could be 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. Once a week, 3 times a week, every day. I don't think you need a set schedule with that. At the end of the day, it's just a supplemental exercise, and you can do it whenever. I just wouldn't do it before you do any heavy training, because you don't want to weaken and fatigue those stabilizer muscles involved. So just do it however you feel you need. I would say, though, that for someone who's getting really close to like a physique type competition, doing them every day might be beneficial to you. All right, next question. Expanding on what you were saying the other day about how the squat is important for pretty much every athlete, surely you must agree that programming should be adapted and tailored to the athlete's sport. For example, a football, soccer player isn't going to benefit from having a lot of mass and therefore shouldn't be training with heavy compounds regularly. Okay, I will say this nicely. At the end of the day, nobody's going to gain a shitload of mass without drugs. So, accordingly, most soccer players are not going to use high enough drug doses or drug stacks that are going to put a lot of mass on them. They're going to be more focused on recovery and keeping their body weight lower and improving their stamina, things like that. That's what they're going to focus on. And realistically, their legs are not going to get big enough from squatting with what they're doing unless they start doing very, very high volumes of squatting. And so what you would do is that you would focus on as much neural efficiency as you can, which is actually hard to do. Believe it or not, it's actually hard to gain a lot of strength on a lift without gaining a lot of muscle mass. It's very, very difficult. And they're still going to gain a lot of muscle mass, but they can displace it by losing body fat accordingly. But what I would generally say for a field athlete like that, I would have them do very low reps, very low volume, never over 3 reps. Don't start doing higher reps on the squats at all. They might bulk their legs up more than you want on 5 or 6 reps. And for someone like me, my legs grow even on triples, dramatically. But accordingly, for someone like that, you would keep the reps as low as possible and focus on as much power as you can, because they're only going to gain so much hypertrophy on that. And it's still going to be a fair amount. But what I would shoot for is that you don't need to have a limitless amount. You don't need them to get to a 600-pound squat. I would say that for a field athlete like that, if you can get them to a double body weight squat, that is all they are ever going to need and benefit from for their sport. And anything beyond that might very well just be putting unneeded weight on them in the form of muscle mass. But I would still certainly push them up to a double body weight squat while using very, very low reps and volume to get there. But that's just me personally. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 5.